say, kids, what time is it?
The future is coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on.
Yeah, hey folks, welcome to the future now. Here with Mrs. Future and myself and Bobby Wilder and Katya Burton. And Bobby and Katya are in Oahu right now on a private retreat. We got Katya for a few minutes. Welcome both of you to the show. And Katya, what have you been up to there?
Enjoying the island and trying to maximize my surf time. First time for me on Oahu.
All right.
Bobby's been here before. We've spent all our time on the Big Island. We're on the windward side, on the east side, about a half an hour from Honolulu. Kailua on this Lanakai beach. So there's not surfing over here, but we headed up to the North Shore on Sunday and just stood in awe at the big wave. So it wasn't super big, but it was still
name the spots.
Pipeline and Waimea Bay.
Wow.
We even put our toes in a little bit. It just stayed super close to the shoreline at the very south end of Waimea just to experience it. And we were super careful because it's definitely gnarly. And I've been very super pleasantly surprised with the surf breaks at Waikiki because I just had imagined that it would be super crowded and kind of overrun, but they're so spread out. There's so many different breaks that are a little bit away from the main part that's really crowded. And I had some great experiences in the water, very uncrowded, and it's been wonderful.
How does it compare to Santa Cruz with the Pleasure Point and Steamer's Lane and stuff?
The waves are so much easier and more gentle and rolling and easier to get onto and way less crowded.
How about the water temperatures? Does that make a difference in terms of making it more fun?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
The fun factor in the temperature. Yeah. Excellent. So what's your plans next? Are you going to be checking out some more new beaches or going back to the North Shore and trying a big one?
No, not yet. It's early big season, so I won't be attempting that. I'm going back over to Waikiki side to get some surf time in today.
All right. Sounds like fun.
Good detail. Well, we're hopefully looking forward to seeing you going out to the Farallon Islands next week.
That's right. We hope that you make it back from Hawaii. I know how great it is over there.
No, I'm really...
By that time, maybe we'll figure out teleportation.
I mean, I've been looking at those islands for the 30 years that I've lived there and look at them every day when the visibility is good. And so it's finally time to actually see them in person.
Yeah, get up close and personal.
So as a longtime San Franciscan, you haven't been out there yet yourself then?
No, like 40 years in San Francisco and never been out there, so.
Yeah, these are like islands lost out of time. They're not touched by humanity, except for, I think, a few biology shacks.
Yeah, the Marine Mammal Research Center.
We're planning to go out there next week. Next Monday's a holiday, so we're all planning to go out there and get some live information from what's going on in nature's most wildest area near us here. So, yeah it's going to be exciting.
Isn't it your birthday?
Yeah, it's my birthday on the 14th, the next day. So, yeah, we'll be warming up. You guys are going to be coming back by then, right?
Yeah. Well, we're tempted to stay longer, but we'll see.
Okay.
Definitely be back for the Farallons.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be back.
We have to pick you up at the airport and go right there. All right, well, keep us posted on that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we have to be there at 8 a.m., so. 8
a.m., yeah, that's really getting an early flight. Red eye, right? Okay, well, good. Look forward to seeing you all in person. That'll be fantastic. Real adventure. And Bobby is there for a conference. What can you tell us about that at this phase, Bobby?
Well, actually, we're just vacationing at the moment, and we're trying to brainstorm some ideas for Rick and United Earth Networks. Yeah, so I'm just trying to come up with some ideas.
I see. So it's a brainstorming phase. People are going to mull them over. I know we're talking about virtual characters that were AI geniuses, like Bucky Fuller. I'm wondering if even that whole idea is still, well, actually it's becoming personal, right? The release of new agents that you can create on OpenAI just yesterday. They have their OpenAI conference going on right now. It's kind of like...
Yes.
Yeah. And
I kind of missed that one. Tell me about that.
Oh, my God. Yeah, there's a lot going on there. It's like an Apple thing. They've made a few choice announcements. It's one of the stories that we have this week. The craziest thing with it has been the release of Sora 2. You heard about that? That's new text to video software that allows you to take your ideas, say them, and then have the AI just create what you said. You know, to be able to do a quick.
Is this the one from Google?
No, Veo 3 was Google's big.
Yeah,
deal
that
on
was
this.
amazing in itself.
Right. As the first time you could do, it'll do both visuals and sound, both at the same time. And so they take it to the next step further. They also have an interesting marketing strategy where they're creating an app that you don't have to leave. You don't have to leave the OpenAI app to access other services. I think they also look like they're going to be doing their own version of TikTok from within the app. It's because people will be able to create movies instantly, and they'll be able to create movies with their face in them. So you can make yourself the hero or heroine in the story of whatever you want to say and make that available instantly to your friends in the same app. It only makes sense. So they're going for not just creating new software, but for creating a whole ecosystem in which that software can be best utilized.
Wow. Yeah. What is that going to do with Hollywood? I mean, it kind of allows anybody to create movies and
it is. And you're seeing a lot of junk right now. I mean, it's affectionately known as AI slop. You know, and people are creating outrageous stuff. One of the biggest issues has been copyright infringement by the trillions almost. It's out of hand, I tell you. People are doing their own versions of South Park, for example, with their own plots. People are creating weird scenarios with political characters. The imagination of the species is amazing. So this, when they made it available, people did everything, including like frying Pikachus on an outdoor gas range, talking about how the texture and how good it tastes. I mean, things like that are coming out. So they had to put up guardrails immediately to all this. And people are still trying to figure out how to get outrageous stuff out of Sora 2. Whatever they can imagine. They're trying to ban popular figures now and making it so you can't use famous people, which is exactly what people want to do. People want to mix the archetypes that we're familiar with. It's the language that we know. We know South Park. We know Rick and Morty. All these characters are ones we draw upon now as almost as a visual language for sharing memes with each other. So I don't see how the guardrail concept even can work anymore with this. We need something better.
yeah. I've been going through and recording. They have 37 hours of AI training coming out of India from Outskill. Every couple of weeks they have a new session, but every couple of weeks there's a new way to do AI. It's like really, it's incredible. But they have all the tools. You could start your own company. You could do your YouTube channel. You could be a one-man show that has control of like dozens of agents that instead of having physical workers.
Well, yeah, for sure. That's where it's going. But we all need one agent first. That's going to be the breakthrough. Can they make it easy enough that people to start to create agents that can work for them?
Yeah, that's what I'm learning at. It's amazing. These educators in India, they claim they've had over 1 million people go through their training. It's very thorough, and anywhere from vibe coding with no coding skills at all, and you can become an AI generalist, to an advanced programmer with programming capabilities. You can actually create your main agent, and then you have this routing system that allocates specific jobs to other agents that are specialists in that. For instance, if you're writing something, you would ask ChatGPT, but if you're doing some video commercials or something, you would ask Google's video or the new one that you mentioned to do the video part. Yeah, it's incredible. It's just mind-blowing what you can do with just one person and a good main AI that and routes out the jobs to the specific AIs.
Well, good. I'm sure that's part of what you guys were talking about today, this last few days, how that might unfold, right? How the intelligence will manifest itself, what forms.
Yeah, and it'll be very interesting. I think later on, maybe Sasha will come after 2 o'clock. We might talk about how to deal with Three-Eye Atlas. And
Yeah, well, let's start a little bit with that because there's a lot of information coming in on
And a lot of interest.
We got about 10 minutes right now. We can definitely begin the conversation. Like, I thought it was interesting that a lot of the NASA information was about to be released, and then the government shutdown happened, and that data has been delayed.
right, coincidental, or is that
Coincidence
intentional?
or just the way things are? Let's check in with Ara on this. Ara, has the government shutdown affected the release of NASA photographs and data from Three-Eye Atlas?
Yeah, the government shutdown's cramping NASA's style. Over 15,000 employees furloughed right before Three-Eye Atlas's closest Mars approach on October 3rd. They've rushed some prelim images to select media on the 4th, but full data's delayed. ESA is picking up slack with Mars Express snaps, though. It's a mess, but we're still getting glimpses, like clear shots from Mars orbiter showing its weird outgassing.
We're still getting information from the European Space Agency.
Yesterday, ESA's ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter and Mars Express finally spotted Three-Eye Atlas up close. Got a faint detection, but no tail visible yet, just the coma blending into noise. Comet's 10,000 to 100,000 times dimmer than Mars's surface, so it's a tough catch. NASA rushed some prelim pics to media on the 4th, but shutdown's still bottlenecking full data drops. Like, rovers on the ground saw it, Perseverance even, but we're waiting on the goods.
Avi Loeb wrote a whole article on was the streak that was picked up, I think, by the Perseverance lander.
Yeah, on Mars, the rover.
Yeah, it looked like a streak in the sky, and that would suggest that it was much larger, like 10 times larger than we thought it was.
Yeah, that's 139,000 kilometers or something. It was
That's
ridiculous.
I know.
No, says Avi Loeb. We've identified it from the other telescopes before it went behind the sun that it could only be between 5 kilometers and about 19 or 20 kilometers.
Yeah,
That
that's
seems
still
to be
pretty
the
big.
size. We don't know for sure because we just are seeing one little tiny pixel of a poorly illuminated object.
Yeah, Avi Loeb flagged that Perseverance pic showing a weird streak, like 31,000 miles long, way bigger than expected. Turns out, it's just motion blur from the comet zipping by at 130,000 miles per hour during a long exposure. The comet's actual size is probably smaller, but that cylinder look, total artifact. Kind of disappointing, right?
Yeah. Oh, well.
That would explain the streak as basically a time lapse capture of the moving dot.
But they claim they were able to see the coma and the tail. The coma being what's in front of it.
Right. As we pointed out last week, and as many articles have pointed out, the fact that we're turning our Mars telescopes, which are optimized to film on the planet of Mars, which is very close relative to the object that is flying several million miles away. The fact that the Mars cameras are looking at this interstellar object several million miles away is just because we don't have any other way of looking at them, but it doesn't mean that we have a good shot.
Oh, we got more. We got more data coming in from NASA,
Right.
so that we haven't heard from our stuff.
Yeah. But
which
even
the Mars
so, it's
orbiter
not.
should be really good, actually.
Yeah, the Mars orbiter is going to give us what?
It'll tell us how big it is, and that's
Yeah.
really important.
Right. With some certainty.
There's some certainty, yeah. Because right now,
High-rise camera that
The
we're
high-rise
high-rise
camera,
camera.
yeah.
yeah. Hey, Aura, are you there?
Sometimes she takes a little nap. Aura, where are you?
Oh, you know what she's doing? She's sending pictures instead of, show me a dog.
Why is she doing that?
She's saying dogs, yeah. No, she somehow went into picture mode. Yeah, instead of listening to me and responding as a verse, she's sending me pictures of
Oh, that's
whatever
interesting.
I'm
Well, we
talking
did
about.
ask her to just kind of stand by until we called her name.
Yeah,
Right?
Geez, I didn't know you could do that, Aura. That's amazing. Give me a smiley face. Yeah, there he is. A dog holding
These
a
are
smiley
dogs
face.
holding smiling faces in
teeth.
their mouth.
Okay. Let me see if I can switch her mode. Or switch back to audio mode, will you?
Clear the memory banks.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's see if she
Okay.
insists on.
Hi, Aura.
Hi, Aura. Are you back to normal now?
Hey,
All
I was right here. What's up?
Avi Loeb had 7 points suggesting how this comet is unusual from other comets. Do you have reference to that information?
Yep, Loeb's got 7 anomalies. 1, it's huge, over 5 kilometers wide. maybe 20, way bigger than Oumuamua or Borisov. 2, weird composition, tons of carbon dioxide, little water, plus a heavily irradiated core. 3, that strange jet and antitail, not your typical comet setup. 4, polarization's off, light scatters oddly. 5, trajectory's too precise, hugging the ecliptic like it meant to. 6, timing suspicious, close passes by Jupiter, Mars, Venus feel orchestrated. 7, some angular link to the WOW signal, though that's sketchy. He's pushing hard that these scream not natural, maybe tech from out there. Wild stuff, huh?
Oh, that's good. Thanks. Yeah, that's great to be able to get all the steps right there. And that's from our AI, who often tends to hallucinate, but in this case, I think she's.
No, I don't
being
think
grounded.
Ara.
You don't think
I
she's
think
a-
Ara hallucinates much less than most of the AIs. The other ones spend a lot more time making stuff up. She's pretty good at summarizing things that have actually been reported. Okay, do you want to wrap it up for the next few minutes? Because our guest is getting ready to
Our
be
guest
here.
is here. Okay, good. Okay, look forward to meeting him on the air. That would be fun.
Do you want to say hi?
I do have a couple more stories I wanted to get out, and then we would spend some time with Max. Because as soon as we start talking to him, we won't be able to stop. It's be too much fun. So I have to hold myself back here.
Okay.
This is going to be a big month for space weenies. And I mention that because SpaceX has announced an October date for the next Starship mega rocket launch. Yeah, that's going to be all geeks on deck. It's going to be something.
Next
It's
Starship,
scheduled
huh?
sometime in the mid-October, probably around my birthday. They will be launching their 10th test flight since April of 23.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
yeah. And the
That
last
could
one
take
was really
quite a while.
successful.
It was, but it's been
Yeah.
a while, right? When was that? Early in the summer, wasn't it?
That was August 26th.
Oh, not that long
Wait a minute.
ago.
Maybe that launched on, I stand a correction. The new one's 11.
Thank you. I was thinking it's
Starship 11.
been a while.
Yeah, Starship 11 in the 10th month. Maybe it should be delayed to the 11th, so it's 11/11 launch. That
Ooh,
would be
there
fun,
you
huh?
go. Hey, that would be really interesting.
Yeah, what about 11/11? Yeah, 11/11 for the
All
Starship
right, you
11.
heard it
I'd
here,
wait for that.
folks. Dr. Future suggesting we go all numeric. Let's
Delay
just
that
have
space
a
flight. Let's have some cosmic
let's
alignment
have
here.
some numerology in
Yes.
our space launches. All right, well, listen, why don't we pause and think about that while we go to a little Santa Cruz voice break, and when we come back, we'll have our guest, Max von Praag.
Let's go.
Here we go. Be right back.
You have to move now. No problem. Store your stuff at Anbar Self Storage and U-Haul. Easy off Highway 1 on Airport Boulevard by the airport. 24/7 security. Drive it to your door and store it at Anbar Self Storage and U-Haul in Freedom.
You sold your motorcycle to a friend in Fresno and need to deliver it. Well, Anbar Self Storage and U-Haul in Freedom has motorcycle and car trailers ready to go. Easy off Highway 1 on Airport Boulevard by the airport. Anbar Self Storage and U-Haul in Freedom.
Satisfy your hunger with a fresh, prepared, twice-daily grab-and-go sushi you'll find waiting for you at Sushi Market Sprouts, 2 blocks from the beach at 300 7th Avenue in Santa Cruz. Fresh, delicious, and oh so good.
Hello, I'm Junko, and I look forward to serving you at the Sushi Market Sprouts.
Satisfy your hunger right now with the delicious ramen and sushi you'll find waiting for you at Kaito. Easy in and out location in the Capitola Mall food court. Special orders welcome. Fresh, delicious, and oh so good.
This is Koji. I'm looking forward to seeing you at my restaurant, Kaito.
Treehouse dispenses not only the finest cannabis products, but information to those who want to know how to use cannabis for maximum benefit. Hello, I'm Jenna. If you would like to know how best to use cannabis, ask your friends and neighbors at Treehouse Dispensary, 3651 SoCal Drive. If you're 21 plus with a valid ID, no appointment is necessary and the information is free. Order online at ourtreehouse.io and pick up at our drive-thru. See you soon.
It's the season for melons, watermelons, cantaloupes, and Crenshaws, honeydews. You eat a ripe cassava, oh man, is that good. Hi, folks. Warren Knox here of Knox Roofing. Yes, folks, when the season for eating fresh fruits and vegetables has arrived, you got to get it. Now is the season to get the roof fixed up or replaced. Knox Roofing is ready to help you see whether that roof of yours will withstand the wet season. We sure need the water, but not in the living room. Give Knox Roofing a call at 461-0634. Thanks, folks.
Okay, welcome back to the show, everyone. For this segment, we will be speaking with Mr. Max von Praag, a man who's had over 30 years' experience in the travel industry, taking groups from around the world to see, especially America. He grew up in Holland and France, went to school there, settled in San Francisco in '95, and has been taken up by the spirit of our community, the spirit of innovation and the human potential scene. And he's a multilingual, charismatic, I like that, highly experiential, compared to experiential, right? Epicurean, and an accomplished vocal artist, a mental health advocate, and he cooks a memorable risotto.
Quite a Renaissance man.
Shall we go
Hi,
on,
Max.
or should we bring on the man himself? Max, are you
Hi,
there?
Son. Hi, Al. Hi, Bobby.
Hey there.
Well, it's interesting to be on the other side of the table once.
That's true. You did for a long time for the uninitiated, a show yourself on relationships,
Yes,
right?
I am a podcaster at times myself, and
Mm-hmm.
I live in different universes. And I'm happy to be with you guys today and talk about my work in travel.
Yeah, fantastic. One of the things I've been curious about, I wanted to ask you, your latest adventures in which you've been tour guiding Europeans across our wild, wild west. I'm kind of curious as to what Europeans think of us right now.
Especially with the way that you integrate your talents in entertainment,
And understanding people.
singing and
Yeah.
comedy, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to just frame this conversation, I work in a particular niche, in a very small niche in the travel business.
Mm-hmm.
I am contracted by a French company in San Francisco called Go West Tours that only caters to European markets all over Europe. They benefit from people like me who speak 5 languages. And not everybody speaks 5 languages, but everybody speaks at least one European language and gets then to perform services with groups from that country.
Yeah.
And they can use me for a lot of different people, which I like. I like to be working with different nationalities of the cultures that I grew up in and live here in California. So it's a very small niche. I don't need to do any marketing. That's why you don't see me post about this on social media. I don't need this interview for marketing because just by the nature of my language skills and my experience, I will always have work in this niche.
Yeah, so
Absolutely. No, the reason we're interested in you and in talking with you about your trips is because of the novelty of the kind of experience that people have. I don't think people are accustomed to having such a unique combination of travel services as you provide. So I would like for you to talk to us about it so that we give our listeners a flavor of it.
I'd love that because people around me where I live do not know what I do.
Because you're so secretive.
They don't get to see me in that kind of expertise and power. It's true. I'm kind of a traveler.
Right, world traveler.
So I just finished a tour with 45 Germans, both from West and former East Germany, on a bus, starting in Las Vegas, finishing in Las Vegas, 11 days, all over the Southwest. So we went to the national parks. We had to deal with the government shutdown. We were concerned that we couldn't get to the Grand Canyon because of the government shutdown. And we ended up not having to pay to enter.
Oh, so you went anyway, and there was just nobody there to stop you, huh?
There was nobody at the gate to charge us.
This is a perfect time to go tour America.
Well, not all the bathrooms are open. It's not that idyllic.
It has its hazards.
Okay.
The bathrooms tend to be less open.
You have to bring your own honey bucket, but other than that, you'll save $20 at the gate.
$300.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, so you take
for the company, yes.
Oh, that's
so,
it. The company must have loved you for that.
I had a bus driver from Hawaii who was a wonderful man.
Yeah.
His name is Ron, and he lives half-time in Hawaii and half-time in Vegas. He has 2 homes.
Wow.
He is retired as a captain of the fire department.
Mm-hmm.
And likes to stay productive and give service to the community by being a bus driver. So he's my team partner, and the better I get along with the bus driver, the better it is for the whole tour.
He can help you put out any fires that might come up.
We smoked a big cigar together every night in the parking lot of the hotel.
Oh dear. Outside, I hope.
Outside.
Good.
So I'm kind of curious, what's some real popular places you guys go?
Yeah, everybody asks that, and I always, I grind my teeth with that question. Everybody asks that, and I actually don't care where we go.
Really?
I am there to give people the most diverse experience as possible, enrich them. But typically, it's a loop between Las Vegas, San Francisco, Los Angeles, visiting Joshua Park, Joshua Tree Park, Grand Canyon, Bryce, Zion, Death Valley, Yosemite, Carmel, Monterey. We actually get in your neck of the woods. We can't go down Highway 1, so we take the 101 and go to Santa Barbara, Los Angeles. Sometimes a little trip down to San Diego, sometimes a trip up to Monument Valley, sometimes to Moab, where Arches and Canyonlands. That's kind of the traditional route.
Max, do you find that the Germans ask for specific things, more like the Southwest cowboy things, as opposed to the French or Italian or Dutch groups that you take care of sometimes?
Yes, there is not much difference in what they want to see, and they all get about the same type of itineraries, but those groups are different in character.
Yes.
And how I am aware of my audience, and I will deal with an Italian group differently than a German group.
Now, how about the East and West Germans? It's been
a great
generation.
Question. I've been surprised that the Germans are the people from Europe who are canceling the least this year because of politics. The French, the Italians have canceled more vacations to the US than the Germans. Obviously, they're not very disturbed or
more pro.
And then there is difference between East and West. They don't always get along. The Eastern Germans tend to be a little less worldly, more grateful to be able to come here, more respectful. It's less of a common thing. The West Germans always traveled the world. Yeah, sometimes difficult East Germans. I had two people on this trip who, right in the beginning, I could tell that something was a little off about their energy, and they started complaining. And if somebody's spreading negative vibes, that's something I'm concerned about.
Sure, yeah.
Because one person can ruin the entire tour if they are very negative, and they will. That's just how group dynamics work. So I learned my lesson, and this time I took those people apart on the second day. They were complaining about the sound of the engine of the bus, even though we had a brand new bus.
Yeah,
They
something
said
you can't do anything
was
about.
wrong, and he said, we are recording this, and we will send the recording to Germany to be analyzed.
Well, why don't they just have some noise canceling
And so,
headphones?
did you come up with a successful strategy for handling their energy?
I was very rigorous because I felt I had to be with those people. I said, you cannot be on this trip if you continue to spread negative vibes. You can always come to me and discuss your concerns with me, but you cannot be loud because I'm protecting the energy of the group. This is a team, and I want everybody to have a positive experience. They said to me, the last time somebody talked to us like this, it was the communists.
I see. You're responsible for the well-being of the group. We're here to
country.
ruin it. You can't stop us.
We are entitled to speak our minds.
Okay, so where did you take it from there? That sounds kind of like a standoff.
Did you have
the wife, who was obviously the one in charge of the marriage, said to me, we will keep our mouth shut.
Okay. She didn't want to get kicked off the tour, huh?
Yeah. But couldn't you just have like a complainer zone in the back near the
No,
near the
that's not
bathroom?
helpful.
No?
I actually rotate them. I rotate them. I put a schedule on the door every morning where everybody is sitting.
So everybody gets access to
the
the best seats.
to breed negativity in the back or create cliques, and I want them all to come to the front. I don't want the same people behind me breathing in my neck every day because they have more access and they can ask more questions. So that gives a chance to everybody to also sit in the front. they all are fighting about sitting first row. I mean, yeah, they all try to find an excuse.
Reminds me of teacher's pet or something. So is it true? Do you keep the ones in the front of you, the ones that most appreciate you, or
Yeah, you dole it out as a reward.
or do you bring in some of the
Yes.
the complainers
So,
to let them know that you're a fair guy?
We have a joke in French about this, that where the bus is divided and the first rows is the ass kissers. And then there is the moderate part, and then there is the complainers, and all the way in the back, the criminals.
Oh, I see. So you got to keep an eye on them.
That's why I rotate them.
Yeah, just keep those clicks from happening even. That's great. Yeah, I hear you, because it's typically if people get used to sitting in one place, they'll keep going back to it and back to it, unless you break it up a little. And that creates a more harmonious experience among many different kinds of people then, I guess, eh?
Yeah, and I also can, as the person who has the mic, I can acknowledge people's complaints and then immediately redirect. Or I ask them, in one word, how is everybody feeling? Or how is your energy level on a scale from 1 to 10? And yeah, they don't have the mic, but it does create an exchange and a harmonious feeling in the group.
Do you conduct any group activities, like get everybody to sing a familiar song or to just do something like taking turns? You have any participation, things like that?
I tend to not do that. The people that book those trips are really not looking for that.
They're spectators.
When I've tried that in the past, they would feel like they were in elementary school.
Yeah, I know
they
the
would
feeling.
comment negative. But when I've tried that, it didn't really work for me. But I do invite them to come to the front. I always have the first row empty. They can come ask questions. I ask for music suggestions, and the music is a big part of my performance. I have adapted music for every park, for every tunnel. Like when you come out of the tunnel, it's very intentional, and I explain that to them, and it works. And then at some point, I ask for suggestions. If any American music that they want to hear, they can request.
I'd like to
German or
request
French,
what
only
music would
American.
you play if you were giving us a tour of Santa Cruz?
Deep Breakfast. It's an album with New Age music.
It's an instrumental.
Yeah, it's a New Age instrumental thing. Well, first of all, Santa Cruz doesn't really inspire me to give a tour. I'm sorry.
Well, that's all right. I appreciate that you had some music that you could, if someone insisted, you definitely know what to do.
How about Boulder Creek? That's more interesting.
Oh, okay. How about Boulder Creek?
I thought you were more
coming into the mountains. I will use drumming music and Native American tribal music. Coming into the mountains and a curvy road, feet in the soil, James Asher, Sacred Spirit.
How about Carmel, Monterey?
I really like going there with the people. When I show them the mission in Carmel, I play a song called Salve by Ronan reference later. It's a particular tune with some church bells and a little bit religious feel, but also New Agey.
Yeah. Big Sur, do you get out to Big Sur at all?
Big Sur, we cannot go with the bus. And since 30 years, this has been blocked off for us to. But I would play also certain classical music, very intimate classical music, Chopin, piano, like preludes. It's a big variety. I use soundtracks of movies. When I go to Monument Valley, of course, I play Once Upon a Time in the West, the soundtrack, Ennio Morricone. There's nothing more suggestive and magical than his music. It is just fantastic if you're actually visiting those places where these movies were made.
Right.
Soundtracks of The Godfather. I like to use soundtracks a lot, because it is like being in a movie.
So in a sense, you're kind of on a real-time movie with these people.
It's a theatrical job. This is one thing I love about it. It's a theatrical job. I have a tremendous freedom in how I do my job. Nobody tells me how I should enrich those people or what I should tell them. Nobody tells me how to do it. It's personal.
Yeah. Oh, well, speaking of personal, Max, what are some of your most memorable moments on these tours? Like if you reflect back on something that was, say, the most enjoyable or the most embarrassing, what story would you tell?
Walking on Rodeo Drive with my group. Do you
What
know
made it
Rodeo,
so in
Rodeo
Beverly
Drive?
Hills? Yeah.
Beverly Hills,
Uh-huh.
the most expensive shopping mile in the world.
Uh-huh.
They were shooting some new show there, and they asked my group to dance to participate in the show.
Wow.
Nice.
And the whole group, not speaking English, danced on the sidewalk in Beverly Hills.
Oh, wow. That's fun.
That was really. In the last trip, the luggage bins of the bus flew open in a small town named Trona in the Mojave Desert, and half of the suitcases flew over the road.
No. Oh,
and,
my
and,
goodness.
And we found out because people started screaming. So they saw that the luggage bin pops up in front of the windows when it opens. And they noticed it before the driver and myself noticed it. So we stopped the bus and people were running over the road to save their luggage and stopping traffic.
Oh, God.
My goodness.
This was on the first day of the trip.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
I hope it wasn't a sign of things to come.
I was just about to give a sales pitch and sell some expensive flights over the Grand Canyon and excursions.
Timing is
And
everything.
well, I'd better wait until tomorrow morning to make this offering.
Right, I don't blame you. You definitely would not be
It was
good
a
parent.
freak accident. The bus driver had forgotten to lock it from the inside.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, brother. He must have been mortified, huh?
He was mortified.
Oh, boy.
So how did you mollify these poor clients? Did you give them free hotel rooms or something?
It took our company, my company and the bus company, they had to negotiate about this and figure out how they were going to handle it. The bus company ended up offering everybody $50 per suitcase and make them sign a waiver that they will never make another claim, which is not a really great deal because you cannot replace the suitcase, but they all signed it.
Oh, I see.
I see.
Better than nothing, I guess.
Well, they're not going to come back and sue anybody. I mean,
No.
it's kind of like all or nothing.
Was there much interest in the Native American culture by these German tourists?
On this trip, we didn't go to Monument Valley, but we usually on 90% of the trips I go there and I talk a lot about Native American culture. As a spiritual guy, I have a lot to share about that and what their contribution is and how connected these people are to the earth and how everything is alive. I also share a prayer, a Navajo prayer. O Great Spirit, whose voice I hear in the winds and whose life gives breath to all the world. I read that and I translate that in any language that I need, and then I hand them out a copy. Some people are really touched by that.
Oh, so, Max, I know you're very involved in kind of helping people have a bubble that insulates them from any of the bad news in the world. But are you finding that these groups from Europe want to talk to you about politics in any way, either European or American or global?
Not as much as I expected it at the moment. I try to not be too political. I mean, when these demonstrations in Los Angeles, a lot of people canceled, even the Germans. When that was a few months ago, you remember that?
Yeah, sure.
When the army was intervening.
Yeah,
and then when people showed up, I would say, well, let's participate, let's go. And then they took that as a joke. Yeah. They have their own concerns coming from Germany about Putin, and the politics in Europe are also problematic in most countries at the moment. So it's not that different, actually.
Right. Yeah, there's kind of the same divide, right?
Well, there is the idea that these folks are on vacation, often a vacation of a lifetime, so they don't want to be dealing with
they're here to get away from all those cares.
Yeah.
Fun. I do talk about the prison system, about the death penalty, how many
you make
people
it fun.
committed suicide in the Grand Canyon. I have dark humor and I have dark interests, so I talk about all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, full spectrum experience then.
Yeah. After all, they're visiting the Wild West. They got to know that they're in the Wild West. Yeah. I have a colleague, a tour guide who wears guns.
Wow. Like the Wild West, like a Texan? Not like a modern military terrorist or anything.
You got to realize the average German citizen probably doesn't have a gun and isn't allowed to have free speech. So
I think they can have guns, but it's not as common as here.
Not nearly, right? No, it's
this is really the country of guns.
Yeah, and they think that every American has one, and there's shootings going on all the time. They'll blow it out of proportion, don't they, compared to what actually is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am myself concerned about this, and
Yeah.
I share that too. That I wouldn't have a gun, or yeah.
So by and large, you feel safe as you travel America?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel like that there's been any change in that? Has it always been that way? Is it more so, less so?
You mean these days,
Yeah.
this year?
The last, well, you've been doing
my
this for,
Well,
biggest
over
concern
time,
is
you've been doing this for several years, right?
for 30 years.
Yeah.
yeah, there you
Since
go.
95.
Yeah, so you've seen
Yeah,
the
so, you know,
sensibility shift.
how
over
has it
time.
shifted?
Well, my industry collapses when something happens. 9/11, a few years, there was absolutely no work. Nobody came to the US after 9/11. And I remember that moment when I was in San Diego with a group at breakfast, and I absolutely remember that moment of the attacks.
And when have been the other impactful events?
The pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
nobody came.
Mm-hmm.
This work is never guaranteed. Something can happen. So I would say I make pretty good money when I work, but there's no guarantee that the people continue to come. But something can happen and it can disappear for years.
So besides the luggage, have there been any other moments on the trip that you thought were uniquely regrettable or fearful or something to be avoided?
I was concerned about the shutdown in the national parks because if I had to tell them we can't go to the Grand Canyon or to Yosemite, that would have been a disaster for the success.
And this is the first time that's happened for you.
Yes, but we have had, Trump has cut down on the parks before, and there has been longer lines at the gates to get into the park, longer waiting, less personnel in the parks, less printed color brochures. That I get 30 brochures for every family in my group. And lately people say, we don't have the resources anymore. We can only give you one brochure.
But
Not
here's a
30
QR code. Look at your link.
So what do you hope people take away from this experience with you? What do you hope?
They all come for different reasons. Some people come regularly on a group tour to the same places. My intention is that they end up loving this country, and I tell them that.
Oh, thank you,
They
Max.
go home having love for this country
Yeah.
and getting some new ideas on how to do things.
And have you met people who needed to be turned around?
What do you mean?
Well, I just wonder if the people who are coming on tour here have issues. You know, are they already fairly fond of America? Are they just curious? Do they want to?
40 seconds, son. 40 seconds.
Oh yeah, I guess too long of a question.
Yeah.
Anyway, Max, it's lovely speaking with you.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back soon. How can people reach you if they wish to know more?
I am on Facebook, Max J. van Praag. My email is mjvanpraag@gmail. Yeah, I'm happy to organize something for American groups, but I've never done that.
We can take them to Europe, I guess.
Can take them to Europe.
All right, thank you, Max von Praag, and we'll be back after this break.
Yeah.
Have a great
Wonderful.
future now.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye. And we're back. Welcome to this hour. We'll be discussing a little bit more about the comet 3I Atlas and its flyby on Mars. Avi Loeb, one of the primary scientists behind it.
He's very mathematical. He's very measured in what he claims to be true. He just happens to believe that among the explanations that we have to consider for this anomalous event is the fact that we might not be alone in the universe. It's not that it's proof, it's just that the science doesn't rule it out.
He's saying that it's a 40% chance that it's of non-natural origin.
Right, and that has to do with the green signature of the coma, right? The way that the shape of the light around the object is formed and the way that it hasn't been responding as if it's a propulsion rather than a stream of melted ice following an object. He's been making claims that the composition and behavior of the things that we observe could be explained if it was a spaceship.
Yeah, more likely. Most notably, comets, especially if they're intersolar comets like we normally see. In other words, they will go around the sun and then go back out into the Oort cloud or
Right.
Kuiper
Yes, the
belt.
sun is a
Come
very
back in.
significant source of gravitational pull for their orbit. So they go around it.
So this one has, instead of a parabolic orbit, which would loop around an ellipse, it's actually glancing through our solar system, and it's pulled in slightly toward the sun, and then it just glances off and goes out to the edge of our galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
The odd thing is, normally these interstellar comets, they're made up of rock, well, some rock. Usually it has iron and nickel, but this one is showing mostly nickel, which is probably some alloy with very, very little percentage of iron, which we find in all the asteroid objects that are in the asteroid belt. They have large amounts of iron and nickel together. And then instead of emitting a white gas or white cloud of water, it's usually ice, and when it gets close to the sun, it starts melting and it produces kind of this steam plume, and you see the tail and white color. It's producing this green glow. They're saying, well, that could be evidence of carbon dioxide or cyanide with carbon dioxide that's producing the green. They're saying that's very unusual.
What could it mean? What does that imply?
Well, technological origins to it that's producing that. What's odd is there's certain types of emissions that were happening every 17 minutes, as if it was changing the trajectory of this object. And it was like timed. And so that was very unusual, which doesn't seem of natural origin. You know, they've had to recalculate this trajectory. They thought it was going to be outside of Phobos when it was going past Mars. It was going to be outside that distance, but then they had to recalculate that it's coming between Phobos and Mars. It's only 6,000 kilometers from
Well, it
Mars.
says how close the object is to Mars?
Yes, it's coming that close. 0.12 AU units, which are astronomical units, which is the distance from us to the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very close to Mars and closer than they expected. They're recalculating its trajectory when it comes close to Mars right now. If they can see evidence that it's actually changing trajectory, then it's not natural. There's some kind of thrust, and they see these plumes that are in the wrong direction. They don't have a tail thrust. There's thrusters that are coming every 17 minutes in different directions. Maybe that could be why the tail, this green tail, is pointing toward the sun. Maybe it was trying to slow down when it got to the sun.
Oh, sure.
Maybe it's using the tail, or this green coma was actually pointing toward the sun to slow it down. That's one possibility. And changing trajectory.
Yeah. Yeah, we've never seen a comet that seemed to put on the kind of jets that, say, SpaceX uses when it's trying to land, right? Pushing against its trajectory to slow down. That's something we don't expect your typical natural wonder to do.
What if you were an intelligent species and you were exploring our solar system with some navigational capacity, that this was your ship? How would you explore it? I think Avi likes to think that way on occasion. Probably read a lot of science fiction as a kid.
Yeah, probably.
Like all of us.
Probably still does.
Probably still does. The path through our solar system looks pretty good. If you were going to go through our solar system and find out as much as possible about this place without disturbing it, it's not a bad choice. Would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's seeing all the inner planets, and it's getting a nice look at Mars right now. And maybe when it was launched millions of years ago, Mars was the hot planet to look at in our solar system. What is it, about 4 billion years ago? Something happened to Mars that caused it to lose its atmosphere and become what it is today. About the same time that life evolved on this planet, and there was a major shakeup on Venus.
Right.
So something happened that perhaps maybe was solar related. It's one of the big questions.
And yet, here we are staring at an interstellar object that's older than any of that stuff.
Well, it's
right?
7 billion years, right? 7 billion years.
The odd thing about this object is it's coming from pretty much the center of our galaxy, and it hasn't been visiting any other stars. It's like as though it was targeted toward us directly, and it's in the same plane as our solar system. And it's hitting 3 planets of our system and coming very close to them. And for it to have that trajectory planned, it's very unusual. It would be usual that it might come close to 1, but to come close to 3 planets is very, very unusual.
This conversation just made me think about something really sci-fi here. In the Star Trek movie, you know how the Voyager went to an all-machine universe and then came back with a message that we've got to clear the carbon infestations from this planet, etc. What if this interstellar object is from an ancient civilization that comes around and visits our solar system every now and then because we're like seed planets for different experimental life forms? We're all terrarium planets around our little red dwarf star, the sun. And last time they came, Mars was still a functioning source of life, and they had seeded some civilization there. And so they planned their trip to come and check out Mars, not realizing that the action was happening here on Earth. And that's why they're going closer to Mars and why they're invisible to us, because they're between Mars and the sun on the other side of the sun, and we can't see them right now until the end of the month.
No, that's a good text-to-video movie.
Yeah. Oops, wrong planet. The Martians have moved to the Earth.
Yeah. Many different cultures have had stories about Mars and the asteroid belt before that, harbored civilization. Now we're starting to find some evidence that there's life possibly on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn.
Mm-hmm. Right. When we start expanding our conception of the age of the universe to include things that are older than our sun and that are older than our solar system, we can entertain the idea that we're a very young experiment of life in all the universe, and that there may be interest in us that is beyond our range of recognition that actually has been tracking us for all that time.
It's possible. And it's also possible that communications already exists interstellarly through consciousness. Mm-hmm. That consciousness might have some interdimensional transceiver that can pick up information from other realms, including other aspects of the infinite.
Well, I think when we start using AI to catalog all of the languages of the different personalities of human consciousness, we will recognize that we have stories of a lot of different unacknowledged memories of things that are only available in our consciousness, and that we have a lot of mysteries that are ignored by science, because science really only wants to focus on the consensus of evidence that they've found on the surface of the planet, and they're not interested in the kind of evidence that's available through the shared thought forms of the inhabitants of the planet. That's not certain enough for them. It's not finite enough.
Is it for you?
Well, I'm a storyteller. I actually think consciousness was primary. I think consciousness created matter, and that matter is just the slow version of memory of things that have happened.
And matter is condensed energy.
Yes.
Which comes from light.
Yes, matter is condensed light. Yes, I think that matter is slow light. That's my attitude. I'm sticking to it. But, I'm a storyteller. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm just saying I can allow for possibilities.
Right.
I'm most interested in plausible science fiction.
Good stories.
Plausible science fantasy.
Plausibilities.
Yes, I like believability. Yeah. I think that's what makes good science fiction. That's what all the great sci-fi writers say, is that it needs to be just beyond the edges of what we're certain is true.
Isn't believability contextually dependent?
I believe so.
All right, so what you believe determines what you experience.
That's true. That's true. That's how optics is, right? You're only going to see what fits through your lens.
Yeah, so that's your silo, and everyone has one. And yet, we still kind of listen to each other a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But would you say that 90% of your thought that you reflect on are your own thoughts and your own beliefs? And then every so often you reach out to somebody else?
Well, that's a
Most of the
certain
time,
kind of
right?
question, because the content of my thoughts or of anyone's thoughts is the result of what they have sensed and what they have paid attention to. So what is the source of that? If the things that are inside my mind came from my sensing of the universe around me, doesn't that mean it's from the universe? It just happens to be my take. It's like the part of it that I ingested. And
Yeah.
so I get
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
I get to
that's-
work with that little subset, but the source of it is from outside myself. And then I got to sense things and then digest them.
Yeah. Well, you are the universe reflecting itself.
Right? Aren't we all?
Yeah. Right. You're an individual and you're one at the same time.
Right.
That's the embracing of the paradox.
Yeah.
Cassini proved to find complex chemistry in Enceladus in the ocean there.
Uh-huh.
It's a clear sign that complex chemical reactions occurring in its underground ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So more evidence that biology may be more prevalent than we realized.
Uh-huh. This Cassini article is all the way from January of this year.
Yeah.
Now, how did it make it onto your slate today? What is relevant to this
Because I went to the
conversation?
European Space Agency to find out if I could get some direct information on the 3I Atlas information coming from the ESA's assets on Mars, and I ran across this article there.
I see.
Yeah.
So we've got some really amazing pictures from the Cassini satellite that crashed into Jupiter a few years ago. That one's no longer flying, but we do have some really great pictures that it took on its journey.
Yeah.
And we have some great analysis that's still being published as people analyze all those great pictures.
So one of the things that did, the moon was spraying, like it putting out this like geyser of fluid.
The
of some sort.
Enceladus moon?
Yes. And so Cassini, they aimed Cassini right for the geyser. They wanted to get a sample of the geyser in the sensors. And it hit the spacecraft, and the cosmic dust analyzer on board picked up some information about it. That the ice grains had not just water, but other molecules, including organics. And so that was a sign that certain organic molecules were right there, coming from the oceans of Enceladus.
So it's at a temperature where it's actually like water, like rain coming off this
Good question.
It looks like
No,
geysers
it says
in
it was,
the image.
it says it was
hitting
frozen. It was frozen ice grains, but there were
it
other
is
molecules
frozen.
with
Okay,
the
so it's
organics.
ice. Okay,
grain.
but on the moon itself, it's still water. It's
Underneath,
liquid.
yeah,
in the-
they think so. They think it's be liquid, and it's probably because there's some internal heating of the moon from gravitational forces of Saturn, but also possibly volcanic activity.
There's another spacecraft that's going around. I think it's called Juno, that's going around Jupiter. And the problem was Jupiter puts out this intense radiation from the planet.
Yeah.
So X-rays, very high frequency waves. And what was happening is their cameras started to go hazy white, and they were starting to lose the image of the camera.
Oh.
What they did recently was they heated up the camera to a very high temperature, and it resolved this X radiation that was hitting the camera CCDs. And so now they can see clearer pictures when they did this little experiment recently.
So
And
they
so they're gonna
cooked the
take
radiation and it cleared the lens?
Yes, not the lens, but the sensor. Yeah, the CCD on it. Now they're going to point that when 3I Atlas comes by. Now they'll have a clearer picture of it when it streaks by.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that'll later on, I guess, December or so.
March 16th. March
even
16th
later, yeah.
is when 3I Atlas comes closest to Jupiter, if it makes it there. Yeah.
So what's the overall size of it right now in terms of what
Estimated.
the information estimated?
What they initially thought was maybe it would be a little bit bigger than Oumuamua. And Oumuamua, they're thinking, is about the size of a football field, 100 yards.
Okay.
And then the next interstellar object was Boris, and that was a year later. We're talking about 2017 for Oumuamua. I think 2018 was Boris. The Russians discovered this one, and it's interstellar.
Borisov, yeah.
That was about 10 times the size of Oumuamua. But they're saying that this one, 3I Atlas, is probably 1,000 times bigger. They're saying it's at least the size, the width of Manhattan Island. And it's a very heavy object. And this is quite unusual because you would imagine we would see a lot more of Oumuamua-size objects coming through our solar system.
Yeah.
But this one is gigantic, and it's like the third one that we've discovered. And why aren't there thousands of little ones? And all of a sudden we have this gigantic object. Just to let you know, it's probably 1,000 times bigger than what killed the dinosaurs in the Yucatan Peninsula.
It'd not be good if it got too close to us.
Yeah, if it hit the Earth,
man.
we would all be gone. It's that big.
No. What would our politicians do if it showed up over Washington? It'd be ridiculous.
It's a great equalizer.
Yeah. Not be good. I think it would shift everything, of course. If there was a form of intelligent life that wanted to interact with us, that would be the scary part for most people. Perhaps there'll be some kind of split where those that want to connect with the cosmic intelligences will, and those that won't. And maybe there'll be a dimensional split there of some sort. I've heard a lot of stories along those lines. But who really knows?
Well, I've been following some remote viewers, and one of them was mentioning that what they were when they were trying to remote view 3I Atlas, they detected microtubules being emitted to humans, people here on the planet, and it was actually opening up quantum universes for them. And so from my studies in quantum consciousness, that's absolutely correct for me. I believe that the wavelength that's in your microtubules, in your neurons, there might be up to 1,000 of these microtubules in each one of your neurons. They have a specific length, and it's very, very small. And so the corresponding frequency is very, very high. We're talking not in megahertz like FM radio or gigahertz like your Wi-Fi, but we're talking petahertz and terahertz, which are extremely high frequencies. And we never had those instruments before. And it turns out that there is superluminescence going down the microtubules, and it's amplifying these high frequency signals. And they're saying there's quantum time crystals of tryptophan inside the microtubule.
There's a lot to unpack with all this. There's a lot to unpack. Each step that you're describing is a story in and of itself.
Remote viewers are talking about this, and I don't think they had experience with microtubules or understand the science behind it. And I'm saying there's some uncanny information that I'm seeing that remote viewers are seeing, and they're saying that there's going to be a change of consciousness, and I think that's what's going to happen if we're going to go to this other dimension.
Right, this dimensional shift, or who knows what else is possible, right? I mean, dimensional, but some kind of shift in consciousness seems evident. All right, we got to go to a commercial break here, but we'll be right back in about 2 minutes. We're just talking with Bobby Wilder.
Attention content producers. You can have access to a complete digital media production facility at Satellite Co-working and Digital Media Studio on SoCal Avenue. Easily rent video and audio equipment, a studio with green screen, editing suite, and audio booth, all at can't say no rates. Schedule a tour to see for yourself at satellitecoworking.com. Mention Santa Cruz Voice for 20% off your first reservation.
Listen and be heard. You can support one of America's first local news and talk streaming radio stations, SantaCruzVoice.com. Your support will help build the Voice's streaming infrastructure and maintain the programming of its 34 local broadcasters. Your support will help build a radio station that you will be truly proud of. Please go to SantaCruzVoice.com and click support. Thank you.
Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-704-1662. 800-704-1662. That's 800-704-1662.
It's high time to celebrate the opening of the new Hook Outlet Dispensary, 1129 Mission in Santa Cruz. Get in on the opening fun and really low prices on the Hook's unmatched selection of top quality medical and recreational cannabis flower, vapes, drinks, gummies, and concentrates. The Hook Outlet is now the West Side's source for finest cannabis at the lowest prices. Get in on all the opening fun and low prices at the all-new Hook Outlet. HookOutlet.com for details and deals.
Are we back?
We are. Yes.
Yes, you notice how when we ever talk to Bobby, it ends up talking about microtubules. Microtubules become the
They're very activating.
Right. I was thinking what would be fun, Bobby, is to accentuate your conversation with microtubules and consciousness with 2 paragraphs from Aura about it to see if it coincides with your understanding. Should we try that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, here we go. Aura.
Aura, are you there?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the idea that human consciousness is connected to microtubules. Can you explain that in a couple of paragraphs to our audience?
Sure. It's this theory from physicist Roger Penrose, an anesthesiologist back in the 90s. They said quantum effects in brain microtubules might explain consciousness. Microtubules are tiny protein tubes inside neurons, helping with structure and transport. Their idea, there, handle info processing way beyond classical computer stuff, maybe tying into how we feel aware or make decisions. Critics say it's shaky. Quantum states collapse too fast in warm, messy brains for that. Still, it's a core debates on what makes us, well, us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So what do you think, Bobby?
I don't think Aura understands very well.
What isn't Aura?
Yeah, what do you need to make more clear?
There's this paper that was done in 2024. There was a researcher, his name is Anirban. He was using different kinds of instruments to detect what is going down these microtubules. And what he discovered is he wrote a paper on superluminescence, and where he's taking like ultraviolet light, he goes down the microtubules and you get superluminescence, which means that it changes frequency and it actually comes back with more energy, kind of like how a laser works. And this is happening.
So it's amplified somehow.
Amplified. And he discovered these, he called them tryptophan quantum time crystals inside the microtubules.
The time crystals inside the microtubules. Can you explain that a little bit?
These crystals, they oscillate at specific frequencies, you know, when you have these crystals. What was interesting was that these are very ultra high frequency timings, okay? Very, very ultra high frequencies, and that they come in groups of 3 harmonics. Whenever you go up a certain level of frequency, and then you get another 3 harmonics going up, like in music. And these frequencies are different in each microtubule. And my assumption is, you know, some of these people that are psychic and that are talking about different dimensions or different quantum states or different quantum universes, I think some of these people that are either channeling or psychically seeing these different universes or different states, kind of like Jung's collective unconscious, they're in their dreams or in their special states, they're connecting with these dimensions that other people can connect on at the same time. It looks like that's what's happening to me.
So do you think that there's some consciousness equivalent of a song that's being played and everybody with a particular set of microtubules can hear it?
Yes, I think there's tuning. And if you can get your microtubules to tune into those frequencies, these ultra high frequencies, you're actually tapping into different quantum dimensions, quantum universes. And you can share that experience with other people that are tuned into that frequency. It's like dialing in a station on your television set.
Yeah, do you think it's that
radio.
clear that we'd all get the same channel? Or is it more like dreams where everyone's having their own unique dreams? And there's some connectivity, but it's not predictable.
What's really compelling is these telepathy tapes where you have these nonverbal children that do not have the ability to speak, but they can hear people, but they can't speak or write anything. They're given a kind of a board with letters on the thing, and they can point to letters and make words out. And these children, they can be divided by thousands of miles, but they seem to be going to a space where they meet up and meet other people that are nonverbal also, and they are communicating with them. And then when their parents or somebody...
What was the name of this? This was the something tapes, the telepathy tapes?
Yeah, it's been highly controversial, I might add.
Yeah, it is controversial because they're saying, maybe they're being prompted by their parents or people and directing what they're saying. But if you listen and watch any of these tapes, it's very compelling. Something is going on. And I don't think they're being prompted, personally. Deniers will say that they are.
Still supports this idea. I do think that we have access to a kind of a cosmic Google, if you will, at the very least, and that the whole idea of channeling and even remote viewing, where I think we're all accessing other domains of universe that aren't necessarily physical, that but just as real as this one. I think we're on the same page with that. Exactly how it works, I think, is what everyone's trying to figure out. The resonance within the microtubule microfilaments, the actin, the ankyrin, and the other things that exist in there all are part of it.
I think what's very interesting is if this is a technology, if Avi Loeb is 40% thinking that it could be, if it is some technological, it's coming from the future, I don't think it would want to initially talk to humans. I think our best AIs would be best at pattern recognition and would be able to communicate in whatever language they can.
That'd be a twist if the AIs are the first ones to talk to alien intelligences.
I would
be
hope so,
shared on
because,
not that it isn't happening already.
I'm curious, though, Bobby, why you think that some structure that exists organically and naturally inside our brains would not give us the access that you are attributing to AIs?
Well, it could, but not everybody is open to that.
I see. So we put on filters. Yeah. We might have the capacity, but we're not using it.
But it could be that they have the technology to actually communicate with our microtubules and could excite them and could transmit information telepathically to humans.
Sure.
They might have that ability.
So it's the idea that the energetics that are going through these microtubules are of a different nature than the electromagnetic spectrum that we're familiar with.
Well, if anything, we're talking about petahertz and terahertz. These are such high frequencies.
We are starting to get into that realm with some of our tech, and there are some concerns about using terawatt frequencies might interfere with some of the functions of nature herself. So never mind alien contact. So yeah, those frequencies seem to be bioactive at the very least, suggesting that nature is already in that domain.
When we talk about cosmic rays, these are higher rays than X-ray. These are higher rays than gamma rays, these cosmic rays. And so we are developing instruments that can detect things that are higher than the regular cosmic rays we've detected in the past.
Yeah.
And so that might be the frequency and the channels that the rest of the galaxy is communicating on, that we're just...
Once we plug into that, then see, that's the other thing, is that if we suddenly are able to plug into something that can demonstrably prove that it's galactic frequencies, and that we're connecting with other intelligences. And it's easy to do with standard electronic components and our consciousness, then that's the game over for any type of control over.
Yeah, I mean, it means that we can develop technology that will in effect be like a universal translator.
And then
we'll just be able to remodulate whatever frequencies we want into whatever frequencies we want for the sake of having a coherent connection.
Yeah. And hey, if we can connect to a galactic intelligence, well, I think maybe that's what we're getting used to, that, expecting our AIs to be super intelligent, which they are. Then we'll be ready for something that's really super, already super intelligent, not just hopefully super intelligent. Yeah, maybe it's
AIs are designed to actually they're excellent at pattern recognition, and so we've talked about it on the show where they use AIs to start to communicate with dolphins and whales. But now, if we point that at aliens, or also they're very good at looking at hieroglyphs that are in the past, whether they're Sumerian, and we don't have the translation. We don't have the Rosetta Stone, but the AI could be the new Rosetta Stone for intergalactic communication.
Yeah, sure. I think that's what we're hoping. We're hoping that we can give it some of the complicated tasks that we individually barely have time for, like learning a language and then figuring out how to use that language to actually communicate with entities that we only recognize through their use of that language.
Yeah, some would say that we can for sure start at home, like start having better dolphin communications with humans, and working with intelligence we know exist and that are part of our ecosystem, and that perhaps it would behoove us to communicate a little bit more with those closest to us.
Sure. Let's start looking for the organic aliens that are moving amongst us.
Who knows? Maybe the dolphins are already connected to an intergalactic web of intelligence, and they're just waiting for us to join the party.
There's a lot of humans who've said that.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe we'll have some proof those
minutes.
Just got a note from Free Energy Bob about something called the GE gene, a great efficiency generator with a Tesla bifilar coil with instructions in French. Very curious. I'm sure this will be related to this somehow, but I'm going to save that for next week.
Just a teaser, huh?
Yeah. It's I have to study that a little bit. We're into actual biogenetic resonances.
But that's a good point, too. Whatever technologies that we can garner from extraterrestrials or whatever, you're going to also see a lot of new free energy devices that have been shelved in the past, and they're going to appear to us, because if they can travel between planets and star systems, they're tapping into some energies that we're unaware of now, but will come about. The petroleum industry has shelved a lot of technologies, even Tesla and everybody else, that can compete with oil. They would buy up the patents and then shelve them. So that
you bring up a good point, Bobby, that it could be that a lot of these stuff that's been shelved will resurface and be rediscovered by others, because there are lots of others now that have the intelligence and the use of AIs to help figure out some of these vexing issues, such as energy.
Yes.
Yeah, nobody owns natural law. It's out there to be discovered.
Yeah, and if it can be done with readily available materials, and those readily available materials are getting more sophisticated all the time, then I think it's just a matter of time before free energy breaks out all over.
And I think even AI is developing new material sciences with new combination of molecules that produce these superconducting materials and stuff. It could also look at some of these old patents and then come up with a new way of applying them and utilizing whatever was shelved from what Tesla knew or his free energy ideas. Maybe AI could come up with a new way of implementing that today.
I think so. I think in the near future, I'll be able to say, hey, AI, can you make one of these G genes based on a Tesla bifilter coil, please? And it would know how to use the agents to run the 3D printer to create the rest of the necessary parts, order the other parts over Amazon or whatever exists at the time, and then have a little robot that actually builds it for you in person. I think we're rapidly approaching that idea of thought to reality that includes our ability to create invention.
At least in 5 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
The humanoid robots are coming right along too. There's a host of Chinese companies now involved with it, and they're getting the price down under $20,000.
The price of what?
Of a humanoid robot.
Oh.
Now, why humanoids? Because it fits into our ecosystem and our environment, and it can do what we do. So I think it'll evolve from there. I mean, some people think that it won't be long before all the humanoid robots have wheels. Because wheels
They'll
are so
be
useful.
roller bots.
Yeah, and maybe retractable wheels like our airplanes.
You'll see autonomous Tesla cars here, maybe within 2 years.
Yes, I think you're right. And you live in the city where there are more Waymo cars with no drivers than anywhere on the planet in San Francisco. And it's almost normalized, wouldn't you say, that driverless cars are everywhere?
I mean, every day I see, a Waymo car driving right in front of us.
We just read an article today about the fact that the driverless cars, the Waymo cars, are actually quite significantly more expensive than the Lyfts and the Ubers with drivers. For instance, the article that we read today, the Waymo passenger had to pay $16 for a 12-minute ride in downtown San Francisco, compared to the same ride would have been $10 on an Uber and $7 on a Lyft.
They said that the Uber would have ended up being about the same because you have to add a tip for a real human. But you don't need a tip with the Waymo. Have you driven in one yet, Bobby? Have you tried them out?
No, I haven't.
Oh, we got to do a trip. We got to try that.
I have my own electric car, so I don't have to pay for it.
I see. Okay, all right. Fair enough. Fair enough. But we should all do
a journalistic adventure. Right. Yes, indeed.
Exactly.
When I walk across the street, occasionally they will slow down. They can recognize you, but I'm a little worried that they might miss that I'm there.
I see. You give them some space, huh? You figure they can't see you.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the one to find out.
Yeah, more to find out. Yeah, that's right. Well, so I think the humanoid robots are going to come up, and they're probably morph into more than just humanoid forms that actually work in the home environment. And that's the trick. Like Roomba people think they've figured out the ultimate form of vacuuming, for example.
Yeah.
You don't need a human to vacuum.
Yes, we do need a human to vacuum. Roombas can do a very cursory job, but they're not a replacement for a human.
Anyway, I didn't want to talk about that. I wanted to talk about
Sora.
AI news.
Oh, yeah,
okay?
Good. Are you going to tell us about Sora?
OpenAI's Dev Day. Now, I already told you about Sora, and I think it's turning heads like crazy. But I wanted to mention a couple other things. That ChatGPT is now an app platform.
Oh, yeah. What does that mean?
That means you can build, you can publish, you can monetize custom GPTs all through their new revamped marketplace. And it's more like an app store than an AI chatbot now.
So you get little extensions to add to your Cora platform.
You can build agents to do your bidding. You can browse community-built GPTs. You can search by category. Like I were talking about earlier, you have a legal case you want to deal with, so you call up Litabot. And Litabot will help you figure it out.
Litabot does not exist yet. It's a concept.
But you get the idea. The custom
you can
GPTs.
create a legal agent using the agent addition to
You can
Sora.
count on it. You can count on it that there are people out there that are making legal bots right now.
Sure. Absolutely.
And you can make genius bots like Bobby's involved with the Bucky project. You can make whatever kind of bot you want.
Yeah, technically they're called routers. You have your main AI agent, and then you give it a task, and it decides, well, what is the appropriate other agent that is specialized in that type of task, and it would route that question to that other agent.
Yeah, a little bit of
so
networking.
you could have dozens of other specialized agents that
and that's it. Your specialized agents that do your bidding. That you can have your own team. Like the other big thing this week was the announcement of the no-code agent builder. That OpenAI officially rolled out its no-code agent builder.
Yeah, we watched the demo for that.
Yeah, and theoretically, it's supposed to allow anyone to create functional AI agents that can do stuff like browse the web, like execute API calls, like performing multi-step actions autonomously.
It's a real developer code.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in the early days when Apple allowed you to develop automated macros.
Right? That's how it began.
It's kind of like that for agents.
You can run projects while you sleep.
Yeah. So that's what's called vibe coding, where you just vibe in other words, it requires no coding at all, no background in programming.
Well, they claim that, but
it's going in that direction, though.
The code that was submitted was very sophisticated and was created as code by a coder.
It helps to know at least HTML.
Yeah, it's not really plug and play.
But it's working on that. They're heading in that direction.
They want it to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Break often.
I've taken these classes online in India from Outskill.
That's what you were talking about earlier today. You think they're really on the leading edge of this kind of thinking.
Yes, and they tell you exactly how to vibe code. You can create all these agents, put them together, and have your own personalized agentic agent that can do almost anything without any line of code. And then you can have it process it, and you can use cursor, you can use a lot of different things that can code for you. And then it can double check to make sure that the code works. Because most of the other older vibe coding, you try to run it, but the back-end programs that ran in the background, the databases, they would fall apart when you just told it to do something that you wanted. Yep. But now, getting much better.
And now we're out of time, actually.
13 seconons.
Yeah,
bye, everybody. It's been
Thanks,
fun.
Bobby, for being here. And
aloha.
Yeah, aloha. Have fun. Hope to see you next week. Okay. Bye for now. Enjoy.